Today in Understanding Redstone, we will look at the randomizer circuit. So what does a randomizer do? Well, it's kind of in the name. It outputs a random output per single input. So that means when I press this button, the output changes periodically. So I don't know what's going to be. It's completely random. And the way we can do that is, since droppers randomly drop an item from one of their 9 slots, or depending on how many slots are full, they'll select from those two. So we have 2 slots full, so it's one of these two. It's not going to select this slot because there's nothing in it. So then it'll push into this hopper, and then this hopper will be measured to this comparator, and it'll do some other stuff over here, which we'll talk about in a minute. So I press this button, as you can tell, it has random outputs. This was on, this was off, and it just depends on how lucky I get, I guess. So what we do is we have stackable and non-stackable items in here. So the stackable item, when this goes into here, it doesn't take up much space because you have a stack of 64. So it just has a signal strength of 1, which just turns this off, turning the line off. But if we have the sword in there, it takes up an entire slot. So this will not only power this, but this redstone does too, which then will power this, leaving the redstone line unchanged. There you go. Now we have a bit more complex design over here, and all this does is it has some items already in it, and it can pick from 3 items. So we can have it do nothing, this stay like that, or we can have it shift up 1, or we can have it shift up 4 all the way up to here. So, alright, got the redstone dust, 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 egg, and sword. The way we are able to accomplish this is that the egg and snowballs are actually stackable to 16, so they take up just a bit more space than, say, a redstone dust would. And that's how we can differentiate dust from an egg. So that's how these randomizers work. Something randomizers are extremely useful for is mini games. And one of those mini games includes casinos and stuff like that. So right here in this village, in this peaceful village, villagers have gotten tired of just trading, just casually just giving emeralds to people for bread. And they're like, let's make it more interesting. So right here we have a villager, and he gets to decide whether he wants to give you bread or not. It's his choice. So you give him an emerald, and then you press his button, and then he'll decide whether he'll give you bread or not. And it looks like he doesn't want to give me any bread. That's tough. So what this is here is it's basically like a casino. And what you can do with these is you can not only build one like this, is you could build ones for a server that you're on to make lots of diamonds, or if you're on like a skyblock server that uses fake currencies, you could figure out how to make one using these randomizers. So far I've been extremely unlucky. Oh, there we go. Alright, he finally decided to be nice. So as you can tell, okay, yeah, there we go. Here's the bread that I've been looking for. So, wow, that was a big loss. Okay. So if we look behind the scenes, we can see here that this is basically powered by a randomizer circuit. So right here we have the item identification circuit. This makes sure that you only input emeralds and not anything fake. So the way this works is we have a bunch of emeralds, and then once you put one more emerald in this, it activates this, which unlocks the hopper. And then when it does that, it powers this dropper. And this dropper has a 2 out of 5 chance of giving you what you want. And you know that by how many non-stackable items are in there. Because when a non-stackable item goes through, it powers this redstone line and this one too, powering this piston, which runs into this observer clock, which gives you 4 bread. Now, normally, if you don't want to give them multiple things, you can just have this run straight into the dropper. Use a repeater, but that is how this works. So let's see. Yeah, there we go. Come on, come on. More bread. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, that's tough. So let's look. I've spent 10 emeralds and I got it 3 times. So okay, I should have gotten 4. So I was kind of unlucky. But if you want this to be more common or less common, you could put more non-stackable items to make it harder or less likely they'd win. Or you could take out stackable items or add non-stackable items. Because now you have a 2/3 chance of getting something, which is pretty high. And then for extra randomness, you know how droppers, they pick something random? Well, you can put a bunch of random prizes into your output dropper, and you can make it more random that way. Or, finally, if you really want to make this random, you could have this run into a second one to drop the chances close to 1% and stuff like that. Because if you have 2 of these, you can have the chances, you can really customize the chances of getting stuff to maximize your profits. Like to say, house always wins. Let's build one. So first, you just need a dropper and hopper running into each other. Then you need to power the dropper, which can be very simple. All you have to do is power a block next to it, or if you power the dropper itself, you'll have to keep in mind that this hopper will get locked. So the item will stay in here until it's unpowered. Next, you want to take a comparator output from this hopper, run it into a 2-block long line, and then depending on whether you want the non-stackable item or the stackable item to be the one that activates your circuit. Non-stackable, just stick a repeater and take it wherever you want. Stackable, alright, put a torch and a repeater, have a line, and then have it run into a resin torch. And there you go. Oh, and then you have to put in whatever you want. Then you're ready. There you go. And depending on how likely you want the machine to activate, just put in what you need. So you could have more non-stackable items, but keep in mind, if you put the same non-stackable item, it will stack up and it will become like there was only one. So keep that in mind. So you have to have different stackable items in there. Alright, well, let's say this won't suit your needs. You need something with more outputs. So, okay. Well, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need a dropper, a hopper, and this is very important. So, you got to power the dropper, of course, but you also have to power that hopper. Let me explain. So, what you got to do is you got to take a torch, power redstone dust on top of a block that's on top of this repeater, and then have a repeater on top of this dropper, and then set it to 3 ticks, put a block to power that hopper. What this does is it keeps those 5 snowballs, or we're going to use 5 eggs, right there, and it keeps it from going into this dropper, because if it does, breaks the whole thing, can't work. Or else it will just work like this one did. So, take comparator output, then go put 4 resin dust in a line, and then put 4 repeaters. And there you go. All you need to do is add your items, and then press the button, and there you go. Uh-oh. Something went wrong. That's not supposed to happen. Of course. We forgot. There we go. Alright. Now it's gonna work. There we go. Yeah, make sure you keep these in here, because what happened was this got unlocked for a moment and some of the eggs shifted into here. There you go. So that's how you build the randomizer circuits. I hope you enjoyed today's episode about randomizers. And randomizers are very fun circuits to use because you can customize them in ways you like, and then you can basically rip off some people in casinos. They're also very useful in mini games and making them fun and interesting. Because you know how in actual board games you use dice, these are basically your dice of Minecraft. So that's all for today, and I hope to catch you in the next episode of Understanding Redstone.